you very much. And thank you, Oliver, for explaining the protocol and you really enlightened the audience what the protocol is about. That gives me a possibility to go straight in. Why is a donor country like Norway interested in the protocol on water and health? I would like to give you a little bit from the donor's perspective how actually we use international institutions, banks, or WHO, UNECE, to reach our goals as a donor nation. What triggered our interest in this border sector? I think it is very clear that was the UN Millennium Goals, relieving that hundreds of millions in our region do not have access to clean water. That means that we have children dying every day out of diseases because of waterborne diseases and infections. The interest from our side in this protocol was also because of this is the first international instruments that I know about that you have two mother organizations. You have WHO and UNECE, which actually was necessary because we talk about safe water, we talk about the health component in water supply. And when I was very active on this, I have left the UNECE arena now, but when I was active on this, I was always provoked by countries telling me, well, we have EU directive, why should we have this protocol? It's a very interesting question. EU directive is only safeguarding supply to water, not healthy water, not sound water. That is very important to be aware of. And then why should Norway be interested in it? When I started this, I thought, Norway, we don't have any problem with it. We do actually. And you can testify that. Only by that when we set our targets, we also have to set targets. We have a lot of small-scale supplies, and we need to improve in my country, and we need to improve in all countries. Then is the question, who has the responsibility to mitigate this disaster that people do not have access to clean water? Some of us, we cannot really imagine how it is to live in a house, in a country, in a state, in a city, where you cannot use the tap water, where it's not clean, where you risk to get sick. But that is the daily life for many, many people. And because Norway is, I have to brag about that, Norway is one of the only countries in the world reaching 1% of the GNP in development and assistance aid. Because we are big in this sector, it's very important for us to find good partners and a good platform for our aid and assistance cooperation with countries. And I cannot think about a better sector to start with than water. And as I said, it's one thing is a personal catastrophe not to have clean water to yourself and your kids. But it's also a precondition for economic development in the country that you have clean water. It is a basic need. And it was interesting when we started with this protocol. Oliver has explained very well how it works with this target setting. And for a donor country, it's very important for us to know that there is a commitment, there is an ownership of what we are financing. Because this instrument, the Protocol on Water Health, invites the recipient country to set the target themselves. It's not we as a donor country who dictate that you have to do this and this. We don't say anything. We look at the targets and we see if this is a holistic plan, if it has an equitable allocation of the water, if it has a pricing that is right, if it has some sort of elements of good aid and assistance policy, which fits our system. And we think that this instrument, Protocol on Water Health, it does. It fulfills these areas. But when we started to test this out, so Norway then, first we created something what we call project facilitation mechanism. That was interesting in this instrument, which is so well defined. You have 3 legs, which are unusual in international instruments. You have both the content, the setting of the targets, the plans, and the goals for your own involvement. They have surveillance, monitoring, and they have financial assistance provisions there. I was participating in this convention and the protocol for some years, and I saw no movement whatsoever on financial support for countries. So then, Norway created project facilitation mechanism, and we needed a pilot country, and we took Ukraine. So we sent our best border specialist to Ukraine and helped Ukraine to set targets. We did the same in Kyrgyzstan and in Tajikistan. And Switzerland went to Moldova. And then we had alliance, and we had a good group of people who were dedicated to do something with this. But then we saw, when we had asked these countries to produce these targets, and they worked very hard, they were very dedicated to this job, but there was no money in UNEC and WHO. And that was very difficult for us as a donor country. Maybe we had given the impression that we would finance everything. But even think about in your own country, when you develop the border system and only to finance pipelines and the whole system of border facilitation, it's a huge cost involved. Of course, no donor country could finance this. So I rushed urgently over to London to talk to xvid and the ladies over there, and to my representative in the bank, Mr. Ole Hovland, and said, would it be feasible for xvid to work with the UN family, WHO and UNEC? No way, they said. No, we've never done that. We don't work with the UN. That was difficult. It took me 2 years to convince in both directions that this was a good idea. But we had to put some money in there. And what Norway did that time, we created a border fund. And that was necessary. The bank needed a framework, so did we as a donor country putting money there. And the UNECE and WHO needed to have a gateway into the bank. And Oliver had just told us that this works quite well, and this water safety plan is a very good a gift to the bank to look into another direction, because what we saw when I checked out what are we doing in xvid, I saw a lot of projects in border sector, especially in Central Asia, but I saw no project that had a holistic approach. I saw no project in Kyrgyzstan that had a border safety element in it. So it was actually to the benefit of both partners, the bank, UNEC, WHO, and the donor, Switzerland and Norway. We started. And of course, we have talked about equitable access. We think it's important. I will listen to the questions from behind in the room there. We do think that Coca-Cola, what did you say, add a little bit of syrup and they take 10 times more for the border than a household. We think it's a good policy for development assistance aid, that it has to be reachable for all. It has to. I do not say that we should not have a price tag. Every service has a price tag. But we should have, one way or another, to mitigate that there is a problem for some countries to finance these. And we have to think about the area where I have been working the last 20 years in Russia, Central Asia. They were not used to pay for this kind of service. So suddenly there is a price tag. And that threshold we have to overcome. And of course, in the bank, we have different means. And we're just in the process of discussing how the bank should work. And this is the process that Norway is extremely interested in, because we have some invested interest here. Why is this protocol so interesting for a donor country? As I said, we are always looking for good partners. I'm a lawyer, my education, I used to be called the consultant killer. There are many consultants here, I guess. My problem with consultants is that they go to a country. Sometimes they don't know the language. They don't know the culture. They don't know where the system works. They don't know the prehistory, for example, Central Asia. They have an inherited system from another country in the region. All these elements have to be on board. You have to have partners who has this knowledge, who has expertise to carry on projects and also are established in the country. xvid has that. That's why I'm very interested in even more to develop the cooperation with xvid. Because xvid, you have said it yourself, you have had many chances to brag about your bank. I just add a little bit on it. You are a reliable partner. You have competence, you have the representation, and you know the culture. And that is very important. And for us as a donor then, when we put this money into these different funds in xvid, what do we get? Why is it so important for us? First of all, I had a chance to talk to Switzerland. Switzerland is very important in the Central Asia region. You have the Dutch people there. First, when I started working in Central Asia, I was very surprised because I came there to Norway, was a saving angel for the water sector. And I met Swiss people from SECO, I met people from the Netherlands, I met people from many countries, even from my own home country, from Finland. They were all there, and we did almost the same. And we had consultants running in the leg of each other to do exactly the same. And I thought, this is stupid. This we have to stop with. We need a forum where we can exchange views, and then we can see to that we have a consolidated approach, and that we do not overlap. And the bank, with the fund structure, gives us that arena. We get the coordination and harmonization. And of course it's a bank, they are very good at figures. And of course, good budget control, oversight, monitoring, reporting, all this, quality of projects, we get that. For the donor, it's very easy. And we don't need to have any consultants. That means that one level is away. It's less time consuming, less labor intensive in municipal affairs. We just go annually to London and say, well, what are you doing in that sector, in the water sector? We see that, okay, fine. Over there is matching our interest, and we put the money in the fund. That is the overall, I will come back to that, about the fund structure in the bank. For the recipient, why is it so important for the recipient that we think that this protocol is useful for the recipient? First of all, they will have one single entry point. It will be just one partner they have to talk to. They have to talk to the protocol to set the target instead of 150 consultants. And when it comes to the financing thing, they have to present their targets to the bank. And then see to that donor countries are informed, are satisfied with the targets, and then we are there to voting for that the bank should go into these projects. So what we have done in this project facilitation mechanism, that was also every single project has a time when it comes to an end. And I'm very happy now that Balkan states are coming on board. Because we started with Central Asia and Ukraine, and they have set targets now. So I thought maybe the mission is not one countries. But then Serbia will come on board. And we heard from other countries now that from in the Balkan area that they are partners to the protocol. That means that we have a new venue, a new possibility to also to help out and to see that we can assist the countries in this region. Then, the critical point. As I said, xvid is a good partner for us. But xvid is just right now up in discussion with itself how they should structure their own funds. We created, take an example, we created a fund, a water fund. And xvid has 159 funds. Of course, the bank cannot run structure with that. So they introduced that we should have a new fund architecture. And this is, we support that. We think that there are improvements on both on reporting, on participation, on transparency. But these are practical and technical things. But we will definitely take actively part in this fund architecture process because water will be upfront. That is a real mantra for my government, that water has to come in there. Our idea was that the funding architecture should have a regional overarching structure, and under that sectorial input areas, and water will be from our side very important. So I see that you are, I just wanted to say that, to give a little bit of advice to the bank. The bank is always talking about cost, efficiency, and what is bankable. Very important. But never forget that it's the donors who set the targets, what kind of projects we are supporting. So that's why a plea to the bank, involve the donors to see to that we can be part of this new funding architecture process and procedure, and we will continue because we have good experience with that, and we will continue with that. Thank you.
Thank you.